I hear a lot from teenagers is they would really love to share more with their parents what's going on in terms of friends smoking pot or friends binge drinking or blackouts or problems, but they worry that mom or dad is going to freak out and kind of intervene and call the other parents, and I'm going to give you some suggestions for that. I don't know if there's any perfect answer. It's a very difficult topic, but kids usually feel relieved when they can share some of that with parents because it worries them. And the other thing that teenagers would like us to know is they are going to probably act against values that they actually really believe in. And they're going to do it not because of peer taunting or external peer pressure, but they're going to do it because of internal peer pressure, a fear of not being accepted by a peer group unless they engage in a certain behavior. And we know that from research. The first time most teenagers admit to having smoked pot, for example, it's in a setting after school or after sports event or whatever, semi-supervised or unsupervised, a group of 8 or 9 kids are there, or whatever group. One teenager will enter the group who has marijuana or beer, says, hey guys, you want to smoke this? You want to drink this? Whatever. And I always say to teenagers when I'm teaching them, if you could mouse click into everybody else's head, all of your other, 8th grade friends are thinking, I don't really want to do this. My mom, is coming to get me. I promised my parents I wouldn't do it. But they misjudge by looking around the circle that everybody else thinks it's okay and that they'll exclude themselves from the group and they might be made fun of or looked at as immature, et cetera, if they don't do it. So generally, the first time kids actually try substances, they are unwilling participants in this kind of weird social ritual where there's internal peer pressure forcing them forward. Does that make any sense? And kids will nod. I say that sometimes in middle schools, and kids will nod and later come up to me and they're all upset and they'll say, that's what happened to me and I really didn't mean to do it, and it's very upsetting. I always put just the warning signs when I'm talking about these things. I'm being a little flip, talking about the irritability and kind of the teenage limbic system and the pecking you like a pigeon, and some of that is normal. But where you really have to worry about is if it's constant belligerence, constant fighting, your child is really intensely secretive, although they're often very secretive. But if your child really shuts you out 100%, if there's school failure suddenly, and one of the hallmark symptoms of depression for teenagers is extreme irritability. So not just a little bit irritability when they're upset that you said no, but like all the time irritability, frequently breaking the rules and a curfew, obviously, sudden change in all friends and behaviors, especially for substance use. That really is a pretty big risk factor. Even if they continue to do well in school, because some kids can get heavily involved in drugs and keep really good grades. But if they suddenly dump their old friends and have a new group of friends, obviously finding drug paraphernalia in bottles, and any mention of suicidal thoughts you have to keep, take seriously, and any preoccupation with death. I mean, those things kind of go without saying, but I always mention it. And I want to say congratulations on being the meanest parent in Darien. And we have a lovely parting gift for you. I don't know where Sally is, but we'll hand them out. We have stickers that say, I'm the meanest parent in town. So you can take a bunch home. And then when you're in the middle of one of these crazy limbic-like psychotic arguments, you can just stick one right on them and agree with them, which is what I always would do. I would always agree with my daughter that I was, in fact, the meanest, most awful mother in Reading. But it's so funny. I volunteer my time in Reading where I live. And whenever I do this or similar speech, all these moms will be like, oh, no, I'm the meanest mom in Reading. We duke out for the title. But any questions or concerns? So remember, this is what I taught you. Your teenager's brain is changing. They really can't help it. They have to separate from you. They have to dissolve that romantic love. It's heartbreaking for us often because we're not ready for it. But it's actually a sign that we've done our job correctly, that they're pushing us away. The limbic system makes them focused on instinctual behaviors, particularly around sexuality and socializing. They have very little use of the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex is the executive area of the brain. It allows adults to be, or this is a good way to remember it. I say to teenagers, you know how adults are so slow and boring and predictable, and they always say the same things, and they always know every way that you could die, possibly in every situation? That's because our prefrontal lobe is firmly developed. And you guys are so fun and exciting and creative and dynamic, whatever. That's because your limbic system is basically running your brain. Now, they don't understand that I'm insulting them when I say that, but they go, oh yeah, totally. My mom's boring, totally. So that's the way you're going to remember that. You're going to try to not take their pushing away behaviors personally. It is really hard. You're going to try to use the Socratic method and the Columbo, help me understand, so that your kid can dig themselves in a hole and then, hopefully learn from the lesson. And hopefully enjoy them a little bit too, because this too shall pass. And I actually think it's really funny, some of the things they say too when they're trying to get their way. Isn't it kind of funny? I think so. Okay, that's it. And any questions or concerns or any disagreements with what I said?